Hello, I'm Robin Puglia. I'm the VP of Education for CyREx Labs for the UK, Ireland and Europe. And in this video, I'm going to be exploring with you the gut wall. So structurally, our gastrointestinal tract, specifically the small intestine and the large intestine, is composed of a stratified monolayer of differentiated epithelial cells, known, not too surprisingly, as the intestinal epithelial cells. So this intestinal epithelial cell layer that lines the intestinal tract creates a barrier which is joined and mediated by the tight junctions in between the cells. Above the cells themselves, the gut has several layers of specific immune cells in the form of secretory IgA, and then enzymes, defensins, and a layer of mucus, which form a non-specific barrier. This immunological lasagna is a vital defense from the external environment, and it segregates the submucosa, the gut-associated lymphoid tissue, and the mucosal-associated lymphoid tissue, or GALT and MALT, and the bloodstream from the contents of the lumen, which, among other environmental proteins and chemicals, contains a colossal number and variety of microorganisms. So the monolayer of cells that make up the gut epithelia arise from a pool of stem cells that are located at the bottom of the crypts. There are 5 types of epithelial cells in the gut: the enterocytes themselves, the goblet cells which synthesize and secrete mucus, endocrine cells that secrete vasoactive intestinal peptide, cholecystokinin, motilin, and other hormones that are important for gut function. Paneth cells are highly specialized epithelial cells in the crypts of Lieberkühn that secrete antimicrobial peptide and immunomodulating proteins that help to regulate the GI flora. And lastly, we have microfold or M cells, which are found in the GALT and the MALT, where they initiate the mucosal immune response and also allow for transport of microbes and particles from the lumen into the lamina propria. So cohesion and polarity of the epithelia are maintained by the junction complex. So the junction complex is made up of tight junctions and adherens junctions. So you'll see here that tight junctions occur closer to the apical surface, which is the surface closest to the lumen of the gut. And then the adherens junctions are actually on the part of the cell wall closest to the basal membrane there. So the tight junctions are the rate-limiting factor for molecular paracellular permeation, and this is healthy function of this structure. So the gut barrier, though, is significantly more than just a mechanical fence. Right? In addition to serving as a physical barrier, the intestinal wall also is very involved in the maintenance and regulation of multiple intestinal immune functions. And this includes the secretion of cytokines, interleukins, and antimicrobial peptides, the secretion of secretory IgA itself, absorption of nutrients to be taken up into the body, and the secretion of lubricants such as mucins, which help to keep the intestinal surface hydrated, which helps to facilitate nutrient intake or uptake, and compartmentalizing microbes that inhabit the intestine. So the physical, biochemical, and immunological integrity of this gut wall surface is really indispensable for maintaining and regulating not just gastrointestinal health, but health of our entire body and the organism. So the human gut is inhabited by and engaged with a very wide range of microbial species. We have evolved to live in an interconnected fashion. We are, in fact, something of a human microbe kibbutz. So this microbial population is made up of commensals, of beneficial microbes, of opportunistic pathogens, and of indigenous pathobionts. And they are all living in a highly dynamic and dense microecosystem, which is collectively referred to by the names gut microbiota, microbiome, or microflora. And this ecosystem regulates and influences various gut health related processes, including our metabolism, nutrition, immune system, enteroendocrine system, the gut-brain axis, and many more besides. So an abnormal or perturbed gut microbiota composition, which is sometimes also known as gut dysbiosis. So symbiosis is living together in harmony. Dysbiosis is the opposite of that, where we have disharmony in the inhabitants of the gut, or the relationship between the inhabitants of the gut and the human host. So dysbiosis can alter the intestinal barrier integrity and can further deteriorate various functions of intestinal defense system, thereby instigating predisposition of the host to various different diseases, including but not limited to, of course, autoimmune disease. So that is the structure and the composition of the gut wall. And in a nutshell, you can see that both the gut barrier itself and the gut microbiome are indispensable factors for maintaining gastrointestinal and overall health. And therefore, deviations away from health, such as chronic illness or autoimmunity, understanding how the gut wall is involved is critical. So in the next video, we'll be looking at changes away from health, starting with inappropriate intestinal permeability.